So I was diagnosed in March of 2013. Had a small finger tremor, didn't think anything of it. In fact, my GP said, it's nothing. And it kept getting a little bit worse. And my GP then, referred me to a movement disorder specialist. And in 10 minutes, she looked at me and said, you've got Parkinson's. You could have knocked me over with a feather. I was 46 years old. Only about 10% of people under 50 as a diagnosis age. So 10% of people with Parkinson's are diagnosed age 50. I went to 3 doctors before I finally said, okay, this must be real. And I'm not a sit and take it kind of guy. So it took me a while to get through it. I like to talk about that period as being my acceptance phase. And during that time, I didn't tell hardly anybody. I wasn't telling people at work. I wasn't telling family members. It took a while before we told our kids. I needed to understand how this was going to work before I could fully accept the diagnosis. And that took the better part of 2 years. And at that point, I made the decision to exit the work day. Stress really impacted my symptoms. So I retired really for myself to be able to focus on fitness. I knew stress was bad and I knew working out was good. And I knew those are 2 things that I wouldn't resolve working. My personality was too much of putting too much responsibility on myself, and I never made time for working out. So I made that decision. I met a guy in Chicago that runs a group called Movement Revolution, working with people with brain injuries, MS, Parkinson's, so forth. And the week I retired, I started driving up to Chicago to go work out with this guy because I couldn't find anything locally. And after a couple of months, he started Rock Steady Boxing Windy City. And so I'd drive up, we'd do our hour workout. I'd do an hour and a half Rock Steady boxing class. We'd get in the car and drive home. And that first day after my first Rock Steady class, I looked at my wife and I said, I have no idea how, but we're going to start one of these in Peoria. Because I knew nothing about boxing. I'd had a couple classes. So I needed to find somebody who had that boxing knowledge. And so I got introduced to Dorian, who was an ex-MMA fighter, ran the gym here. We weren't actually in this location at that time. But he and I just clicked. Something about it just worked. And he agreed to go get trained. And so we went and got trained in September, October timeframe of 2015 and came back and opened the gym up. And it's been go, go, go ever since. We had the biggest number of attendance in our history this last month. So it continues to grow. Some people cycle in, some people cycle out, but we continue to grow the program. And one of the advantages of having Parkinson's is I know the medical community here, and whether it's PT, OT, or neurologists, they're all very supportive of the program, and they'll hand out brochures to people, and we get some media attention over the years. We had a front page moon landing headline on the Journal Star shortly after we opened. And, Channel 25 has done a piece a couple of different times. We've had other local media do stuff. And it gets word of mouth some. I'm here at least 4 days a week between coaching and taking classes. I used to come to every class. Now we got too many classes. I can't do that anymore. It's hard to put it into words. I mean, it's sitting down and doing interviews like this that kind of bring it together for you. That, you know, maybe without us having started this, you know, these couple hundred people that have been through the program, you know, maybe their lives wouldn't have been touched by Rocksteady. It's pretty emotional. Yeah, I guess I really don't, I'll never know what it was like to be a coach without having had Parkinson's. And, you know, if I'm honest, I'm sure I wouldn't be attached to this program if I didn't have the disease. And so it carries some responsibility. You know, I like to be an example. I like to show people what can be done. It's there is some added responsibility, I think, that comes with being a person living with the disease. And I don't recommend it for everybody. You know, I think it certainly helps to be young. You know, I'm the second oldest person in the gym. I love it for the interaction. I love it for the camaraderie. I don't feel alone anymore. Parkinson's is a weird disease. It tries to isolate you. It tries to take away your daily life. And I've told people for a long time, and I'll continue to say it, I get as much mentally out of coming to class as I do physically. And I really believe that, because you feel normal here. And that's not always the easiest thing to do when you've got a disease that's very visible, that maybe took away your career, maybe took away your ability to play the sport that you always wanted to play, totally changed your view of what retirement looks like. You know, everybody comes in with a different set of circumstances, but there's that common thread between all of it, that they just want to be normal. And I think this program provides that a lot more than people recognize. And I couldn't tell you how many spouses I've talked to over the years that come up and just say, you know, I got my husband or my wife back because of this program. And that's pretty heavy. I'll just leave it at that.